You command the most powerful empire on earth. Borders are cracking, plague is killing your soldiers, and every decision can cost thousands of lives. You sit in the freezing military tent on the Danube frontier and write to yourself, remember, you can't control the world, only your own mind. This is not a monk, this is the Emperor of Rome, Marcus Aurelius, the man later called the Philosopher King. Yet the ruler who tried to live like a Stoic sage left the empire to a son who almost broke it. So, is Marcus Aurelius proof that philosophy can stand up to war and absolute power, or a warning that inner wisdom alone cannot save an empire? Marcus Aurelius ruled from 161 to 180 CE, the last of Rome's 5 good emperors. He didn't seize power, he was adopted into the imperial family and trained for rule. What set him apart was his seriousness about philosophy. He studied Stoicism as a way of life. Specialists on Marcus describe him as someone using philosophy as daily training, exercises to remain calm, just, and disciplined in a role that usually turned people into tyrants. Later, writers would look back and say, if Plato's Philosopher King ever existed, it was Marcus Aurelius. The irony, Rome's Philosopher King spent much of his reign not in libraries, but in war. Crisis hits fast. War in the east, dangerous tribes pressing across the Danube in the north. Then the Antonine Plague, a deadly epidemic that kills huge numbers of people and hangs over his reign. That is the background of Meditations. Several books are dated to camps on the Danube. Picture the setting: a tired emperor surrounded by the sick and the anxious, writing short reminders for himself, not for public display. When you wake up, he notes, expect to meet selfish, ungrateful, aggressive people today, and remember they are your kin. This is an emperor rehearsing how not to become cruel. The picture historians draw of him matches this: less of a distant thinker, more of a worn commander trying to keep his mind clear while the empire shakes. If you read Marcus Aurelius' Meditations, you will notice that 3 main ideas come up again and again. Duty. The throne is not a reward, it's a task. He pushes himself to do the work of a human being, turning up, deciding, and carrying the weight instead of running from it. Justice. He warns himself against anger, revenge, and vanity. A good ruler must be fair, slow to rage, and hard to provoke, even when insulted or betrayed. Common humanity. He insists that all people share the same rational nature. For an emperor over many peoples and languages, this is a deliberate check against dehumanizing those he rules. This is why serious historians accept the label Philosopher King in his case, not because he wrote a beautiful book, but because that book shows how he tried to shape his own character in order to govern. Here is where the story darkens. Before Marcus, the good emperors had mostly adopted their heirs, choosing able adults instead of blood relatives. Under them, the empire reached its high point. Marcus breaks that pattern. He raises his biological son Commodus as heir, makes him co-emperor, and leaves him the throne when he dies in 180 CE. Ancient accounts and modern historians largely agree. Commodus is a failure as an emperor. He prefers games and self-display to serious rule, leans on dangerous favorites, and helps push Rome toward a long period of instability. Why did a man who understood character so well hand the empire to a weak and unstable son? Scholars point to pressure to keep power in the family, to fear of civil war if he skipped his own son, and to a more human factor. Even a brutally honest philosopher may be unable to judge his child as coldly as he judges himself. Either way, one factor is hard to avoid. The philosopher king may have made his greatest political mistake at the moment of succession. Put all this together and Marcus Aurelius stops looking like a flawless statue and starts looking like a far more complicated and unsettling human being. We see an emperor who in the middle of wars and plagues used philosophy as more than decoration. It was his shield against becoming brutal or corrupt. He tried to stay just when cruelty was easier. He tried to stay calm when panic was tempting. He kept questioning his own motives when it would have been simple to blame everyone else. At the same time, the moment he dies, the empire passes to a man almost perfectly shaped to undo his work. That is the paradox at the heart of Marcus Aurelius. He shows how far inner discipline can go. One person, alone with a notebook, defending a small citadel of clarity inside his own mind while the world shakes around him. But he also shows its limits. Philosophy can rule one's soul. It cannot guarantee what comes after. If you want to see what it looks like when a real human being tries to live philosophy while holding absolute power, start in that cold tent on the frontier with an emperor writing to himself. Stay at your post. Do your duty. Rule yourself first. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more. Hit like, subscribe, and share this with a friend who loves history. See you soon.